Yeah. Anybody else speak to this? Or do you talk to it? Could use the form and let me try to call it right quick. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Mulberry.
Here.
Gilbert. Here. Gibson. Here. Burkett.
Here.
Crowley.
Here.
Honorable President.
Thank you, sir. All right, the next item is to approve the agenda, and we have a slight change this evening. We're going to move the open comments down after our discussion items. That lets us get through the quick board business and then down to the discussion that people may be more interested in. So if I can have a motion to approve the agenda with that change.
So moved with the change.
I would accept it and say I would be okay with doing that from here on out, if that's okay with the rest of the board, if we can have set that up.
Okay. Okay. So we have a motion to make that change for this evening and then going forward. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, so. That brings us into a report section. The first thing is our February Difference Maker Award. We started this last month. This is for someone in our school system who has really gone above and beyond and gave us some innovative ideas and really went out of their way to make certain that how we touch our students makes a huge difference. So tonight's difference maker is Ms. Carla Logan Hoffman. And I know her students love her dearly, because I do too. But I was hoping maybe Ms. Carla could share with us just a little bit about some of the things that she's been able to do this year.
Absolutely. Thank you for that nice introduction. So I did want to say thank you to the Corbin Board of Education, to all the staff over there and all the members of the board, as well as the administration at Corbin Primary for turning this super interesting year into a very successful year. So there's lots of good things going on at Corbin Primary and some amazing staff. And every time somebody would email me or call me and say, you know, congratulations, I said, you know, I'm very humbled. This could have easily gone to any teacher or staff member at Corbin Primary or any other school in our district. So I truly am honored and humbled by that award. And so I just wanted to take a minute and share at the beginning of the year, going into virtual learning, especially with the littles, because I do teach kindergarten, a couple of concerns that I had, and then where I feel like we're at now. So one of my biggest concerns was, how was I going to reach these students virtually and build a relationship with them? Because I feel like that is the very utmost, most important thing that we can do, especially with the littles, is build that relationship first and then move forward. So I kind of thought about, if I was in person, I would do this. And so how can I make that work virtually? We still do things like have a weekly star student. And if that person is coming into the building, then I can give them their star student materials. We post it on our Google Classroom and everybody applauds them. Or I can do a porch visit and drop off those things to them. So we do that. And then in my classroom, I always say, we're part of the Red Hound family, so let's do this. It's the Red Hound way. This morning we were doing our writing, and I said, let's think about 5-star writing. Okay, we're going to be good Red Hound writers. So that helps us build a sense of community and a place to belong, and so that's super important. So over the few months that we've been doing this, I really feel like we've reached that point. In the classroom, show and tell happens once in a while. Virtually speaking, it happens every day. I've met dogs, cats, brothers, sisters, babies. We've all shared. We can all eat and drink in the classroom now, so that's a good thing. And then my other concern was, how is the learning going to happen? It's different if I've had my students since August and a shutdown happens in March. I've already had lots of things going on in that time span. So to go into August not knowing my students, most of them having never set foot in Corbin Primary, and how is this going to work? So we quickly became acclimated to Google Classroom. Families have been amazing. They all know now that I'm going to say things like, I'm posting the link in the chat box. Everybody knows what that means now. And so we've used lots and lots of things. I even have, thankfully, a blessing, literacy footprints, our small group guided reading lessons. I have that virtually. So I can meet one-on-one with my students. If they're not coming into the building, I have a set weekly time. It's on our Google Calendar. They click that private link and I'm able to assess them virtually. And so when I'm doing a running record on them, I can see where they're at and I can see they are making that progress, and I can assign them books, just like nightly reading that we take home all the time. Used lots of new apps. Some of them I was familiar with, some not so much. I was part of the Corbin iTeacher program, so that was super helpful as far as the virtual learning process. So I am able to use things like Pear Deck, Boom Cards, Seesaw. I have digital flashcards. When we're reviewing those, I just post them, and at home, I want to see your lips moving, and we review those. And recently we've gotten into Jamboard, and so now I can say to my students, I'm sharing the link in the chat box, and they can click on it, and I can ask them something, and they can either respond themselves or have their families do a sticky note. And so lots of collaboration, even at the kindergarten level. And so I have found through all of those things, when I met, because I started a couple of weeks ago, a little virtual vibes team. And so we meet virtually, some of the virtual teachers at the primary. And I said, we just need a place to kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And so the first day I did that Jamboard. It's kind of the virtual version of the chart paper in the back of the room with sticky notes on it. And I said, the first slide was, what's working in virtual learning? And my answer was virtual learning. It's working. If the families and the students are putting the work into it, what we're putting out there, I have seen, even at the kindergarten level, they're making some amazing progress. So that's working. And then my next slide was, what's not working? And my answer again was virtual learning. So it is exactly what, with anything else, if you're putting the work into it, then you're going to get it. You're going to get it. My students are making, as well as everybody else's, because we have those PLCs and we discuss it, they're making some great progress. So kudos to the Corbin school system and to all the amazing staff. As I said, anybody in our district could have easily gotten this award and certainly earned it, because everybody is doing so many great things. So I'm super proud of our district. Lots of good things going on, and it's working. So thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. we need to talk about the Corbin APC after Chris.
Thank you. Got a short slideshow. Before we get going, I would like to say, I have to thank, Casey and her crew, and then Dwayne, and we've had the best support. It gets better every year, and I hate that you're sitting here because I'm not much feel bad, but, I mean, I can send the work order in sometime that day, pretty quick. I've got somebody coming, and it's just, they've been great during this time, and same with Dwayne, so thank you all. With that said, there's approximately 53 other APCs in the state, and so I talk with the other principals regularly, and I appreciate you all, because I've got the best support, I think, of all the agencies. Y'all are awesome, and I do appreciate it. Y'all will see some of the stuff I'm talking about here in a little bit. I just wanted to put a couple slides of some of the remote projects that we've been doing. I can't include them all, but all the time, but some of our allied health and EMS students, we bought some kits, NTI kits to send home. And this was stuff they actually did in the classroom. One of them is a cell, and they actually labeled the different parts. So we sent some clay and some toothpicks and stuff like that home with them. And then at EMT, they did a heart and different parts of the heart. We've also bought some GoPro cameras, and the teachers are filming the tasks that they have to do, and they're uploading those. That way, when they do come back, they'll be familiar with them, and it won't take as long to get them up to speed to be able to test on them and stuff. Because we're hoping to really be able to test some students and stuff. In the engineering program, Mr. Taylor brought some little electronic kits, breadboard, and this is a picture of a parent that was amazed that her child could do this. And then he sends different diagrams home, and they'll work it out. And when they don't work, they'll take a picture, or they'll go on Zoom. They'll troubleshoot it for them, and so it's really been interesting and fun. And remote learning is difficult, but it's had its good points too, because these kids are becoming self-learners. They're digging and learning stuff on their own. Our industrial maintenance program, one of the ideas he came up with, of course, they have to deal with calculations and watts and ohms and amps. So what he had some of his kids do is go around their house, take pictures of some of the nameplates that's got the amps and the volts on it, and then he would have them do a calculation. Then he would tell them how much per kilowatt hour would cost in their area, and then the kids would calculate how much it would cost to run that piece of equipment a day, a week. And so they're doing spurts and thought. Then they wanted to know how long. Some of them said their moms didn't want to believe their cell phone charged all the time, so they wanted to calculate that so they could tell them what they were thinking about big things. Our welding program, this is one of the GoPro cameras that we bought, and our engineering program actually created a mount, and on front of the GoPro camera is a auto darkening lens, and what it's enabled Mr. Hoskins to do is to actually go through and weld and show the students the different techniques and the different welds. And if you'll click on the picture, it should take us to a quick video. I think it's 20 seconds. And you'll see how, so this is through the weld head, that's what you see. And then when it stops, it brightens. And then when you go back, so then you can see the weld. So that lets the student see the angle and the type of weld and stuff. So let's work out angles. So that's one of the things that's really, and what that's going to do, we're all learning and evolving from this. And generally, Mr. Hoskins has to go in a booth with the student and tell them how to adjust it. So what we can do now, we can put that to a TV and put it in there with the student, and the whole class can watch, and they can all do more of a group learning project. So good things come out of this. A little bit about the performance data for 2019 and 20. Allied Health, our percent of career rating was 84, automotive 72, criminal justice 78, EMT 35, industrial maintenance 80, and welding 72. But then engineering didn't have an end of program assessment, and they don't have a industry certificate. It's supposed to be one coming out this year. On the EMT, a little reason on that, those students can't take that test until they're 18, and most of them have graduated and went through most of the summer, and so we're trying to figure out how to get them back to do a little skills refreshing.
Yeah.
And but you know how summer hits. I wanted to get before the next slide. I wanted some terminology. A concentrator, according to KDE, is any student that's completed 2 courses, but he's got 1 completed credit on his transcript. And a completer is a student that has 4 credits in a pathway. So they're a welder or nursing or something like that. So last year, of course, we all know we left in March. Our percentages, Allied Health had 10% completers, 44% automotive, 8% criminal justice. EMT didn't have any that completed. Actually, that's wrong. Now that I think about it, we had 2 kids that did, but they grandfathered in during the summer. Engineering had 23, and industrial maintenance had 22, and then welding had 23 as well. And so I have the concentrators, then I have the completers, and I'll share this with you all so you can, if you want to look at it a little more. If you'll pick up the next slide. And the reason I put this up there, KE ranks the CTEs in the state, and last year we were down. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, we were really low. And so I started digging because I wanted to know why. Because we're really high on our industry certifications. And so the calculation they use is based on completers versus concentrators. So industry certificates, which is really important, but they don't take that into that calculation. And so what hurts us on this is early graduation. But typically when a child graduates early, it's because they need to. And then we have an exploratory program where we bring the freshmen in and we rotate them around. That's been the best program we've had. The kids know where they want to go, and it exposes them to them. So, and that's pretty much kind of the cause for all of them. So I talked to Frankfurt, and they're looking at different ways to redo the calculation because the exploratory program really should be purpose.
No.
But since those kids get a credit,
Yeah. They had done that.
yeah, since those kids get a credit, then they're marked in our school, so if they don't have 4, and so I just wanted you all to be aware of that, but they are looking at that. Of course, everything's revising and changing, so
If we're looking at life skills, that exploratory class is most important to do.
it is, and if they rank the schools on industry certificate, because I got with Cali Whitaker and we did the numbers, we're in the top 10%. That's what matters when the kid goes out. Most places don't care that you have 4 classes. They want to know that you can pass the test and do the job.
Who defines completer and concentrator? Do we do that, or does the state have to have this study? Yeah, unfortunately, they do.
I know our welding, industry certificate number is really high.
It is. It really, and there's a
Mr.
huge
Hopkins
demand.
is awesome.
He does really good. Dual credit for an ACC. We've got dual credit with Somerset Community College, EKU, and UK College of Engineering. And the next slide, I wanted to kind of ease on into good news. Our dual credit before 2020, we had approximately 8 classes. Now we've got right at 26, and hopefully, when I get an email back, the end of next month, I should be around 35. So almost every class we've got is dual credit. And those dual credits are, most of the time, kids can have 2 classes, 3, pay for the work ready scholarship. So we're working, and a lot of this, I've did a lot of work on it, but I have to say, Ms. White, Ms. Kennington, and Ms. Cutshall really, we've been working a lot. And I really, that's why I was talking to Mr. Greer. I can't wait till we get back because all these charts and numbers are going to go through the roof. I can't wait. It's exciting.
I know like Miss Rollins' class, her CNA class, to get into nursing as an active program now, you have to have your CNA license.
Yeah.
So our kids who get through that class and pass percent, that's a huge bonus for them.
It really is. And we're working with EKU. She's going to be teaching an evening class at the ATC, and we're wanting to use that angle to help our students going into the College of Nursing, because EKU's getting one of the best grants. So hopefully that'll help out to maybe get some positions down. Something I really want to talk about a little bit is our new technology. On the left is a Hunter lift, and that was recently purchased. Actually, it was turned loose at 4 o'clock today for operation. The lift and the little machine behind it is the alignment, and it is the Hunter people did training on it yesterday and today. They wanted to bring everybody from the southeast region and train on it because we've got the most up to date. And that's all because of work ready skills grant that Mr. Daniel worked on, Ms. Crawford worked on, there was a group of people worked on that. So, and this other piece of equipment is a hydraulic and pneumatic training for industrial maintenance class. And it's shipping out tomorrow. So that's the end of that grant. But with that extra piece of equipment, we're going to be able to offer 2 more classes with full credit. So it's going to pay off. And some of the stuff we bought, the AED CPR trainers, we got them in. We're packaging them up to send them out to the students so they can practice at home and stuff. And then, of course, most of y'all saw our thing at Robot for people to get. When you ever get somebody to train because COVID's hitting all that, we'll get going. And I guess that's it for me. Yeah, sorry it takes so long, but and thank you all again.
We love to come to the school.
Come here. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
When people used to get to come into my office, they all remarked on my name because I'm excited.
No, thank you.
Nobody gets to come in now, but
Yeah, I know the feeling.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
We appreciate the partnership. Your school and our school, they really help one another out. And of course, we have other areas schools who come to the APC.
We do.
And it's one place where our students get to realize that students are the same everywhere.
And they do.
Any other board members, anything you want to ask Mr. Smith?
I was just real pleased.
Yeah.
Thankful we have it.
This would be an asset to for our career center as well.
Yes.
I've had conversations about that already. And we're getting close to the point where we start talking about complaint and he'll be up with this. So it'll be really, it's going to be really nice having him on campus. And that's kind of into this the first time from Corbin High School.
And at some point, I can see the welding program kind of getting in. I mean, it's going to welcome them.
It's going to be, it's what's going to tie all together. It was needed, it's going to tie all together. We've got projects we're already talking about. It's going to be great.
And then I think this Katie has a technology update.
I do. I am very excited to tell you that we were 730 Chromebooks back in the summer, and we have been very patiently waiting for their arrival. And last Thursday, I got 4 pallets worth of Chromebooks delivered to my office. So of our 730 that we received 680 of them. We still have 50 hanging out there for School of Innovation that have not shipped yet. So we immediately got started on them. We have already handed out staff Chromebooks to the high school, the middle school, and the elementary school. And when I say that our staff members were excited to see their Chromebooks, that is an understatement. They were thrilled to finally have a Chromebook. Then today, my whole team and I delivered 350 student Chromebooks to the elementary school. So we packed the library table full of Chromebooks, and I had a good conversation with Mr. Webb. He was so excited to see them. I know he knows his students will be excited. So we are going to work with Mr. Webb on getting those switched out to the students that have older Chromebooks. When that is complete, his building will be completely brand new Lenovo Chromebooks. So that was our goal, was to get rid of anything there that was older. Then we do have some other projects. We delivered 30 to the educational center for their students. And then we've got some that we have to deliver to the middle school students. So when we are through delivering all of these Chromebooks, we will be able to say that our high school, our middle school, and our elementary school all have new Lenovo Chromebooks. And that is going to make the way for us to shift some more devices to the primary school to help them out for kindergarten, first, and second. So I don't know that we can say yet that we're going to be 100% one-to-one with first and second grade, but we're going to be really close. We're going to be able to alleviate some more needs out there. So it's very exciting.
What's your sense on new orders? Because you and I talked the other day about another 240 to be able to accomplish what you just said.
Yes, my hope was that we could order 240 more, and that will help us towards our goal of getting the middle school brand new, all brand new as well. And my thought there is what the 6th and 7th graders are currently using are older models, not as old as what the elementary school has, just a year or two older. Moving those to the primary school and giving those to 1st and 2nd grade. And then that way your middle school, your high school, your elementary school are all new devices. We would need about 240 to complete that. So I think our hopes is to do that this immediately. And then next year, maybe do another refresh for the primary school.
In talking to your vendors, what's your sense though, being able to get that over the field?
And he told me to go ahead and place them as soon as possible because they're still receiving shipments and they're still fulfilling orders. Like I said, we're still waiting on an order that Mark placed in August. So we got our June order, but we have not yet got our August order. So, the sooner the better. I'm hopeful that if we get it in now, we can work on that project this summer.
And even this new round of extra things is going to probably stimulate a lot more sales. So I think we should have got it time.
Yes. So hopefully we can get that done in the next day or so.
And we're able to utilize the ones we're switching out with the elementary.
We're going to utilize some of them. There's a lot of those models we're going to retire because they were so much older. But there are still a good amount that we're going to be able to fix and send to the primary school to help with them. They need devices in their building for when kids come into building for in-person instruction because they didn't have devices one-to-one for kindergarten, first and second. So they need to be able to have some checkout, but they also need cards available to use when the kids are in there. So I think with what we collect from the elementary and middle school, we'll be able to really help them out. And we spoke to Travis, and I think, between us and Matt and him maybe buying some for his teachers, I think we'll really be able to get primary school in good shape.
Well, that's three things. And I know that there were hundreds of school systems
Yes.
that had orders out, so I'm proud we were able to get ours. Okay, any other questions for Peyton? That is if you would excited. So we'll move on then to bids and financial management. We need a motion approving the board minutes from the January meeting and saying that we received information about the financial management items that have been taken.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
So a motion by Keith and a second by Carsteel. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next section is the personnel section. We need a motion saying we received notification of these personnel actions taken by the superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Todd and a second by Keith. All those in favor, please say aye. Motion carries. The next section is our operation items, and there are 1 through 13. Are there any of these that anyone would like to discuss separately? And take a moment to look at them and let us know what there are.
This 13 is just, I was just going to say, 13 is an item that we added, obviously last, that's why it's number 13. But that was a condition we spoke about last year, right about the time COVID hit. And I brought it to you, I think I pulled it off the agenda actually because we had a need for it that one time. We didn't know how much in-person construction we have. It's $3,000, but it's the entire year this person would help with, and it happened to be that Mr. Corn has had a large growth. If anybody knows what that is, the large growth is the brass section, And, Mr. Corbin, using his work, that's not his area of expertise. However, we've got a person in our district who is his area of expertise. And we were in position to ask him for that last year. He honestly showed up and reminded me of that. When he said he feels right now that kids are getting ready to get back in the building more, that this will be a good time to get him in that position. So, that's the score of that position. It'd be a position that would be specific to those kids with brass, the brass section.
Approximately $3,000 then.
That's for the whole year.
Sounds extremely reasonable to me. Provide that.
It's in addition to stipends, but it would be signed in our district. That's
Right.
used.
If no other discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve operations 1 through 13.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Keith and a second by Garfield to approve operating items 1 through 13. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, then please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, on to the discussion items, we have authorizing the superintendent to move forward with purchase of the new lights for Campbell Field.
We talked about this a little bit last time, and basically what it amounts to is with the opportunity to use excess building funds, which can only be used for facilities. We looked at and it has to be used also on items that are on our DFP, our district facility plan. So the board had the foresight when we did our new facility plan to add Campbell Field as one of our needs areas. And clearly, if you look at our buildings, all our buildings are fairly new or newly renovated, everything's in good shape from that point. We have met everything on our DFP with the exception of if someday this board comes across the domain and has a need to build a 3, 4, 5, other than that, we're going to go category 5 items. And the main category 5 items, in my view, is and I think that we all agree, is the Campbell Field. It is been kind of neglected for a while, and it has been because we've had more pressing needs. And again, the funds that we would be using for this are restricted building funds and can only be used for those purposes. This board approved last month to do the ceiling on the stands, and which in effect is going to be very cosmetic. It's going to be such a safer structure than what we got right now. All the broken concrete and the proposed rebar and those things are going to be repaired. To prevent the leaks from going down into the locker room, so we can turn one in history loose on fixing those locker rooms up. The next step in that would be to get up to date lights, and those lights have been old for a long time. We had Musco come in and take a look and just give us some numbers, and they also did a little review of what we have, and we've got some problems with. And they've been there forever. I mean, we've got some conduit that deteriorated. We've had instances where the lights have been off, and at times it takes a lot of keeping it back on that type of thing. They're very, very old. Our lights at the middle school are much better shape than those are. Long story short, we would have enough funds for the 21-22 year, rather just any time if I get off track, the 21-22 year to pay for our insurance, which we always do with those excess funds, and also to do this upgrade with an additional $30,000 or so to be added from the general fund. So basically, we can get this project done for about $30,000 out of our general fund, which is to me, I think it's the right time to do it, and I don't think that it's something that needs to be done. I don't know if we get another opportunity to do it. Well, we won't get another opportunity before the football season. If we get it in right, if we get this order in now, there's about 8-week lead time before we can get the parts on the site, and then we're going to have to drill underneath the football field because we go from 6 poles to 4 poles, much more efficient lighting. It's going to save some money on the bill. They're all LED, and there is a 20-year unlimited warranty on all of those lights. You can build it on most of these applications. If you start my lighting, you must go. So that being being said, that would be my recommendation, that we kind of, and you all have seen the scale as far as how that restricted fund money increases over the next few years. So, after this next year, there's going to be a bigger pool of money that's restricted for building funds to tackle the. So the reason I say that's, it's not like we're depleting all that we're going to have. This is really the last year, the smaller amount that we're going to have. And it goes to much more substantial amount for the next 16 years after that. So that would be my hope, is that we could do that now. We would get that order in place, and we would be able to utilize 21, 22 months to do that. If we deal with five. So that being said, that's my story. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to. For the financing part, John is on this issue. He does it. There was an opportunity, and then we talked to myself because we felt there was a big enough need to do that before we knew about the excess cash we were going to have building funds that must go. We were talking about financing for us, but then we became aware that we had to take the funding to finance.
It also improves safety, both for the players on the field and for the spectators in the stadium. Because there are several areas of the stadium that rebar is exposed, especially off the corners where people have stood on the bleacher seats themselves rather than where they're supposed to. There's a lot of places where the concrete needs work, and we want to have a safe place for our players and for our spectators.
I had some discussions with some of the board members also through this process that perhaps the lights that we're going to salvage from Campbell Field, I'm not sure about the poles. We've got some feelers out there for some kind of see if we can do that, but at least the lights, we're not going to utilize those somewhere else. Perhaps down at the warehouse building that we're building down behind the baseball field, we did, but it's pretty dark at night. I was down the other night. It's going to have some lighting. And, we talked about
Next door or two, it's right.
That's right, yes.
it's a high school.
It gets a lot of heat.
Yes.
Lighting that up a little bit. And then again, we would be playing games there, so it's not a necessary height or even a room camp that we have to meet. So we start with what we got. So we're trying to repurpose those investments. If you watch it through.
I think it'd be good if we make the decision to do it, to go ahead, so we could utilize them this next school year. You know, while I wait. And if that's the decision, I would tend to do it, so we could use those funds, but do it now. So we can get use out next year.
We need a motion, then,
Yes.
I'll go ahead and I'll make the motion to authorize, superintendent to move forward with the purchase of the new lights at, Campbell Field.
I'll second it.
But let that do that, okay, and also allow you to look into if it's cost effective repurposing the old lights.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Marcia, you were the second.
I'll second it.
The motion by Keith, second by Carfield, to approve authorization to move forward with the new lighting and to look into repurposing the old lighting. Any other discussion? All those in favor, can please say aye. Motion carries, sir. Then, our discussion of, in-person learning.
Well, we've been coming to this point for a good bit. I've met with the board members. We've had some discussions, and from my standpoint, we're at a point where we can safely open things back up a bit to get kids back into school. Our vaccine, second vaccine dose is 18th and 19th February, according to Marcy at the health department. I think 7 days after 7 to 10 days after the second dose, when they went for the vaccine, 95% effective. Is that correct? Yes. So that would take us to March 1st. March 1st just happens to coincide with the first day of the third trimester of high school, and also about the midpoint of the 9 weeks at the other schools. So introduce discuss on the board for repost my feedback video. That's what this board has wanted for a long time. There's no secret. Excuse me, once that as well. We want it. And I think our kids are, we've been having kids in the building for a long time now, and some folks don't know that. Even when we were deeply in the red, we were in the 90s and even up to 100 there at the time, we were bringing in targeted groups of kids who needed remediation. We've been doing for about 3 weeks now. One day a week for every child that wanted to come, and then we had some open slots because some people would decline. So we've had about 100 kids in the building, over 100 kids in most buildings every day since that point in time. It rejuvenated our teachers, I will say that. Made our staff feel better. It feels a little bit more like school. I was back down at the elementary school during lunch the other day, and I walked in, and one of the teachers came in and said, "Look, we've got babies. We've got babies in our building." And so it was it's been a good experience. But I think it's time that we can sort of increase that number. And I know that's what this board was for a while, so I would that open up the conversation for that and see your thoughts on it.
Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion and we can have discussion. Second. I would move that starting March 1st, our school shall offer our students 2 instruction options, all virtual and a 4-day in-person hybrid. And additionally, after March 1st, our schools may increase in-person instruction to 5 days per week at the discretion of the superintendent and the principal.
And do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion by Carter, second by Keith. Now, any other discussion? So from this point until March 1st, we would still continue to do the small group learning we've been doing. That's not going to change, other than more students, I think, have been opting to come back. And we have vigilantly attempted to reach students that we know need to be in school. I know Mr. Greer has made a lot of home visits for students that we feel really need to take advantage of that in-person learning who have not chosen to do so at this time.
And I think partial to that, this can be a good time to bring it up, is that in discussions with you folks all along this time, is that Cindy and I met today. We have a meeting scheduled Monday with folks here at Central. Obviously, we have a very robust plan for summer school, and just without going into the great detail, because we don't have it great detail yet, but we do know what our general look is going to be. There's basically 2 categories of summer school we're going to offer. One category will be for remedial, credit recovery, student who needs to improve their grade or actually gain credit. And the other would be for lack of a better term, fill in the blank or catch-up kind of kids. The kids who have done okay, but still obviously through virtual learning we may have missed some of those things. And our thought up to this point has been building that in somewhat of a 2-week academies. Specific to classes, reading and math being a primary focus, obviously, and doing it that way. But we're going to commit a lot of our COVID money towards trying to entice our very best people to come back and then do that in the summer. So I think that's probably a question that Pam said out there. I had that asked of me 15 minutes before the meeting time. Now we're back in school. What are we going to do to try to catch up? Well, we're going to do our very best to. And one of the things that you did tonight in the action items was we increased the pay for teachers for before school and after school ESS. So we're enticing teachers to do that as well. Hopefully we'll get more folks doing that. So as we go along, we'll be catching kids up. We're going to have a very elaborate system, and we hope to do that during the months of June and July, both for kids who have to have it and kids who just need it, because we know there have been a learning loss. There's no question about that. I would compliment our teachers until the end of time on what they've done virtually and some of the stuff they've done. Mr. Gibson's been out and he commented the last meeting about some of the amazing things they've done virtually, but nothing replaces a great teacher in the field. I was really encouraged today. I was on the Southeast South Central meeting, and Cindy was on as well in her office, and they brought in 2 teaching learning experts from KDE, and they were talking about the learning laws and what some research-based activities would be that that they could offer for us that they, as far as ideas, they mentioned 1 to 2 week blitzes with, in specific areas with kids doing specific things for 2 to 3 hours a day. And when I walked out there, I told Cindy, I said, that sounds exactly like what we talked about for a week or so. I said, so we didn't realize it. What we had kind of designed in our mind, it was very research based. They mentioned another thing though that we did not think about, and they mentioned that they've seen a lot of success with individual tutoring. For example, you would hire a teacher to work all day as a tutor, let's say math, for example. They would bring kids in on a rotational basis all day long, groups of 4 or less. Those kids would have 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour with that particular kid. They would rotate out and bring another one in. So a teacher could conceivably see 24 to 30 kids a day, and it would be a very small group setting. They see extreme research. They looked at some extreme results with that. We could get, think about it. It doesn't sound like much, but if you get 10 teachers a day, you touch 240 kids. And so we're looking at any and all opportunities. Everything's on the table. And again, we've been blessed to receive some COVID funds that are designated specifically for that. And I would like to just let everybody know that's listening that we're going to do our very best to catch kids up, and we're going to do it in a quick manner.
So, the motion allows for a movement towards 5-day-a-week instruction when the principals and you have decided that particular school, because school may do it at different rates, correct?
Right, and I think, I think that the initial reason for that, and I'll just go ahead and address that right now, is that there's some logistical things that are going to have to happen. Every kid that's coming back is not going to show up on that first day. It's going to be a moving target for the number of kids that come back, and that's going to happen for the first week or 2 or so. So if, for example, Miss Smith's class has 25 kids come back, there may be Mr. Jones' class may just have 10. Well, after that first day, you're going to have to readjust those. There's going to be several adjustments that have to be made. We're going to have to learn how to social distance during lunchtime. We're going to have to learn where kids can stand, where we can stage kids out while kids are leaving and being back in the classroom. How much time it's going to take to clean up cafeteria when you're bringing kids in behind him. Are kids going to be able to get into the classroom at that time? So we've got a lot of logistical things that you can do that in a mock setting, but when the kids are in the buildings, it's going to be different. So I don't anticipate at all the 4-day week being all year long. With the caveat that things continue to go down. We got great news today that our incident rate is about 41 today. So positive rate is going down. So good Lord willing, that's going to continue to go down. And like I said, vaccines will be done by March 1st. But all that being said, we are gearing towards 5 days a week. That's what we serve. That's what this board wanted. That's what we wanted. That's what our staff wants. And as soon as we can get it logistically good to go, we feel like we're comfortable doing that. And I do believe it will be space. Some schools who have had larger numbers of kids aren't going to do it. We saw some of those problems I was talking about. They've got a lot of those. So those will be a much quicker conversion 5 days out of that way.
And it's easier to move 200 or 300 small children than it is to move 900 teenagers that go everywhere in a building. The logistics are based on the building and the entrance.
Not the same.
They're not in poverty. Thank you.
And the reason I worded it the way I didn't want you all to think we need to come back to the board to get our permission to do the 5-day. I appreciate you got that whenever you're ready for it.
I appreciate that. And again, that's the goal. That's the end goal, and that's not a distant goal. We have to get that done as quickly as we can do it logistically and safely. We just need a little bit of time on those days to make sure, and I appreciate you recognizing that. But I want everybody to know that our goal is to have everybody back in school as quickly as we can. And it appears as if on what societal factors are helping us right now. I know our teachers are excited. They've done a tremendous job with virtual. They're going to have to need to do that. They're still going to be, what new information we have, still a large number of kids on virtual, so they're going to be doing double duty, preparing virtual lessons, and getting them ready the night before, getting that stuff, loading up their active boards, and loading up their flip charts, and getting all that stuff ready for the kids who are going to be virtual. I've been trying to do that in the past, so it's hard. It's hard work, but they're up for it, and they're excited about it.
Well, the thing is, for 2 months, it is gonna be more on them, but at the same time, for 2 months, I think it would be very doable. I mean, I think they want to do it, and I think they'll be glad because you're having in person. But I do think it's smart right now, at least initially, to have that one day Wednesday and do real deep cleaning.
We'll do that. I didn't even mention that. We'll be doing that as well. We'll work with our custodial staff and reduce some hours so that we at least have,
Then you can get a feel,
you can't ignore.
right, and then you can get a feel for the 5 days.
To your point, I spoke to the principal today and I told him I could, the word is out, what's looking like. It's not, my staff is excited, not one negative comment, they're ready to go. And we've been doing this in some fashion for a good while now. We're ready to fill the seats up as best we can. There are some challenges. The challenges and they're, if you look at our oldest building is the elementary school, even though it's the most recently redone, we didn't enlarge any classrooms down there, so we couldn't anticipate that we were going to have to social distance from 6 feet at the time we did have to it. It does a bit differently, but they've got a big challenge to social distance in the classroom. The guidelines that we're going by, the Kentucky guidelines that this board voted to follow, says that if you can't reach the 6 foot social distance, do the very best you can, use safe hands. Mr. Webb did a great job of rearranging classrooms and doing it for a good while. They've got tape all over those classrooms, and so he's ready to go. He's extremely excited as well. So we're looking forward to it. It's kind of where we're at now. I look forward to giving you an update this time next month and let you know where we're at.
Well, I just think not only the kids, but the students and the teachers, I think everyone's just, it's time. I think everyone's getting ready, so, and try to get back to some sort of normal with school compared. And there will be some issues that we will run into, but I think it's just a win-win to go ahead and start trying to get our kids back with 5 days there. And I think they don't even realize, kids and teachers, on how much that they have missed this. And I think once you start seeing this come together, I think we'll even have more and more kids from the virtual that will do the in person.
The fact that you're doing it in 4 days, or even just say more days, you get into a routine. And that's something everybody needs.
I think
Everybody needs a routine.
right there.
It is.
I think some more days like that, we definitely.
I'm glad. I'm very glad. And again, just good fortune, blessing, whatever word you want to use for terms. The vaccine being able to be moved up for education folks first, I think that was what was intended. It was done for that reason, to get kids back in school. Folks responded to that. Just so happened to fall right on the time when we're the great period break at both sets of schools. So all that, whether it's divine intervention or not, I don't know, but it sure looked like it. So we're gonna make the most of it. We're looking forward to it.
Any other discussion? Stephen, did you have anything you wanted to ask her?
No, I'm good.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Uh,
Aye. All those, I said in favor, didn't I? All those opposed. Motion carries. And I believe that was 5-0. We did move the time for asking questions or comments to this point. Is there anything in the chat we need to finish?
There's one comment on the sign-in sheet, and that's just from Mr. Wilder. And he just wanted to say that he is proud of Miss Lawson representing CPS and that she did a great job.
I would agree with that. If that's the only comments, sir, we're ready to go to comments from the superintendent. Is there anything else we need to add?
I've got a couple things here. They're all good news items. I wanted to share these. I did say a little bit about and I forgot the naming convention that they had used, but Southeast Central were calling them acceleration academies, which I like that. The two week workshop that they're going to call acceleration academies, not necessarily for kids who are remedial, but kids who just need to be not going to speak, so to speak. I thought that may even be named that we can steal. But both community superintendents, they, as far as summer school plans and got a lot of great ideas. Today we went to the Southeast South Central meeting, kind of already shared it with you. During that meeting, Sarah Watkins was recognized as for a coaching award from the training of Southeast South Central. That is a training that Ms. Davis had sent Sarah to help her learn how to be a better coach. And we all know Sarah was a great teacher. There's a difference in being able to do and being able to show how. She evidently is very good at both because she received one of the 3 awards they gave from the trainers at the end of that training. So congratulations, Sarah. They had her name on the screen and in front of all 20 or so students who were there today. In addition to that, Ashley Hill and Sarah also were doing a book study with our principals and several other district administrators on the role of leadership in virtual learning. The book was titled Distance Learning Playbook. Ashley wrote out a study guide for that basically, and that she and Sarah did. They submitted that to the Office of Teaching and Learning. Even when I take a look at it, they liked it so much, they kind of adopted it themselves. They're going to publish it, put it on their Kentucky Standards website for other schools to use with compliments to Sarah and Ashley. So those 2 ladies are nothing but a name for themselves, and they do a really, really good job. It's just if the city does a good job managing them, that little under there. That's a really good job. They work very well together, being recognized not just in our district, but outside as well.
Right.
Any board members have comments?
I would like to mention, we appreciate Regina Huck. She's been doing a good job trying to make our laws make sense for the schools and the teachers and the students. And I don't want that to go without notice. We appreciate what she's doing.
I would agree.
I would agree, and I appreciate you bringing that up. I did send a letter that time, but I told them that she and pregnant drivers, they hope to see those. And I was actually funny. I was on about 2 days after that. I was on a Zoom meeting with Central Side. He always recognizes performance, and he'll preface things by saying, when I won my higher performing district down there 4 years ago, David Cochran said this one. He always has good things to say about our district, and Regina as well. But I appreciate you allowing me to sit out there and that was the nice gesture. They both appreciate it.
They're having an eventful year.
Well, there's some interesting deals out there right now. This will be a year for a lot of strange things, and there's some strange deals out there. I think that we never saw.
I think there are those innovative things with school funding, if it all goes through, in order to be able to hire members to get seats, so we all have a kind of an idea of where we're going to be, rather than waiting to figure out where the numbers come from and things like that. Very helpful to all school systems. It's like at your home, you can't budget if you don't have a place coming in.
I was in my business, Rhonda's office, things like that, and I heard them talk about some bonus money. Basically, that there's a pool of bonus money out there. So for certain amounts of money that you use from these ESSER funds that are directly used for student catch-up, student learning loss, if you can document that, you're going to get extra money back. You can use for a lot of things, but the money that's specifically used for that, you're going to get bonus money back. Is that correct?
And you're exactly right. And I think it's $75 a child is 85% of our research. And based on the conversations we've had, we're so far seeing the 85% that have really good opportunity. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, everybody thinks it's smart. That's a smart thing. Not we have a lot of people that you could easily have people not doing the right thing, and that's a really good way. I thought I heard that correctly. I'm not sure it's also going to do one of your last week.
It's a positive incentive. I was wondering, sir, just because it's virtual, we do the Wi-Fi, and I always think about the summer PD program that we've been able to do the last few years. Have they told us anything about that still being available this year? Especially if we're going to have students in the building, can we send them home?
I would presume we will continue. She's actually operating under summer feeding guidelines.
Right.
Those are less restrictive, and she has been following those since last year.
Well, I know we have fed them.
I would
A bunch of kids all year long. It's amazing.
Well, they said, I can't, I don't, so I see it every time I go by.
All of our regulatory agencies, I won't again forget all of acronyms, and they have been very gracious to provide her that flexibility so that she's able to see in different methods and procedures just to get food in people's hands that would have been a little bit more restrictive.
And without the food that we provided, I'm certain our families who would have struggled even more than they are.
You know, Jamie's a lot of fun. I mean, she can find 100 people to get their food.
And she doesn't. One thing I will say, too, I think about this, while we're on our thank you to review real quick. Every time we get a big grant, every time we get a AAP, another round of testimony with it, that adds more work to Rhonda and her crew. She's done a really good job. The city and I asked her the other day, said, "Dad, show us what we got left, show us where it's committed to," and we have to put spending plan together on March 15th for the new monies. We sat down and spent, I guess, 3 or 4 hours the other day, going through our wish list of things that we could spend it on, and Rhonda was so organized, everything right there. I was like, well, listen, what if we do this? Don't we that money set aside from our previous grant to do that? So she's really done a good job. And Mr. Greer's also taken on a lot of new activity as well. He's our permanent reporter. He does a daily report every morning. Every morning when I need to find Tom, he's at his office the first couple hours a day doing our COVID report. How many people are out for COVID, how many are quarantined, that type of thing. And that's a moving part as well. He's had a little controversy a few times with folks who think they should be out of quarantine, but not. So he's done a good job, and he's been a good enforcer in that role as well. So a lot of people take on a lot of extra things, but we sometimes overlook those sort of things.
We appreciate all of it. Any other discussion? To my knowledge, we have no need of an executive session this evening. So we would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Pete and a second by Hartsfield to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and thank you for the people on TV.